Hello, welcome back to Leopard Street, and in this episode we'll be continuing the wiring started in the last part to completely wire up board E of the layout. Quick recap, last episode we went over the wiring plan, removed the board, mounted the board for some work, got all the way through to commencing of the wiring with putting in the first connector block. So picking up from there, here we go. Yeah, so here we go for the start. Here's the connector block we started with. The first job is to connect these three blue wires that you can see here. These all need to be connected together. So yes, here's one. And what we're going to do is fit a contact strip across the top three terminals on the left of this bar. So it's this contact strip here. These come with them. This is one that comes with a slightly different one, but there we go. That's going to get cut. Relatively straightforward. Even more so if it would have been on camera, but there we go. So you can see that. Just a pair of cutters, clips down, part falls on the floor. Such is life with these things. This rail goes into the top of the connector block, and what it's going to do is create a common bond electrically between the three on the left. So in here again, because I'm lazy, so this is the connector block. Disconnect the top three connectors, just slacken them off a little bit. This little block goes in here like so. There we go, it will eventually fit in. And then, just adjust that slightly and then fit those in, tighten that down, and that is now that side there done. What we're then going to do is hook up the three blue wires into the bottom of that using some crimp fork connectors. As you can see, up to that sort of length, just cut them down to size, and then this will fit in quite nicely. So just clip off like this. Yeah, so this gets the length of the cable to be something slightly more sensible. Ideally, I don't want too much slack on it. Very simple wire stripper, just takes the end off. Twist these round. These then gets folded over slightly and goes into a spade terminal. Sorry, a fork terminal, which will appear shortly. There we go, one of these. Very, very simple, fits into this. Purpose behind doing this is this protects the end of the wire, and if I need to remove this for any reason, it's just a case of unscrewing this terminal. It can then be screwed into a different terminal or wherever it needs to go. So it just goes in, simple crimp. It's just a little tool I got on eBay. It's fairly straightforward. That can then just slot neatly into one of these holes, which again just needs backing off. The trick with these blocks is you have to keep the screws tight even if you're not actually using them, because otherwise vibration and they fall out. As I've discovered on one of the other boards, which when we finally get around to wiring that, you'll notice there's a few that don't have screws in, because they went on the floor where the floor gremlins decided to eat them. So yeah, again just removing this, sliding it in a bit neatly, and do the screw up, and that's that one. So then what we do is do the same again on the next three for the blue, and then that's that done, and we'll be back in a sec when that's finished. Right, that's the blue wires connected. Next up is connecting the brown wires. These go in individually. First job is cut them all to length. Decided basically I was going to do these as a batch process, make it a little bit quicker. So yep, chop all three to length, as you can see. All three of these are then going to get a crimp attached and is going to go into the terminals individually on there. So yeah, speed this up again. And now the next job is to connect this to the actual power panel itself. I'm going to start off with blue feed. This is a slightly thicker gauge wire coming in, and is basically just daisy chained into the connector block at the top. Each of these will quite happily take two of these fork terminals, so this works quite nicely. This runs round here, it's just connected in. The reel of wire is then sort of passed around the board a little bit to go down to the power panel. Unfortunately, I forgot to readjust the camera to actually sort of show what's going on here, but this is literally just bringing a reel of wire through, cutting it to length and sticking another one of these terminals on it, and then connecting it to one of the distribution blocks. Yeah, so here we'll just pan down slightly, and then nice jerky camera motion there. And as you can see, this thicker wire here has come in, and it's now into the terminal block distribution for the blue channel off the DCC controller. So next up is fitting the brown wires. And here we are a short while later. The brown wires are now connected. As you can see, I've also connected into the relays. This is for the diamond crossing. So we've got a brown wire in, a blue wire in for each of the two frogs. They're wired, so one will be live and one will be brown, one will be blue while the relays aren't powered. The green wires go off to the frogs. The brown wires come around, they disappear off the bottom, and they go into the DCC8 board. It's all nice little jumper wires into here, and this is essentially how the rest of it is hooked up. At this stage, the only parts that aren't connected are the 2 points, numbers 1 and 2 down at the bottom, and their associated feeds. I didn't really video the fitting of all the brown wires. It's the same process, sticking a crimp terminal on the end, and yeah, fitting it that way. So now we'll move on to the points. Yeah, so we just open the board up here. You can see the wires running behind. Cable tied in a sort of slightly failed attempt at maintaining a little bit of sanity here on the wiring. The bus wires will all be tied up at some point, although there's going to be some changes made in that area. Spoiler alert, not everything here went well. And yeah, so on with the points. Yeah, so now we're looking down at the points area. So just pan across here a little bit. You can see at the bottom here we've got some feeds. The upper wires are the 2 frog wires. Feeds to one of the points. There's the feeds to the other come out from the side of that piece of wood. Down at the bottom there is the feeds for the 2 lead-in tracks, and all this basically needs hooking up. It's very much done in exactly the same way. Wires get cut to lengths, a little connector block goes in, and everything gets connected to that. So we should just move on and see this here. So yeah, this is where we end up with. There's another little block at the bottom. This again is lined up basically to be under the track. Unit at the top is now fully wired in. You can see the brown wires into that as well. Sections are now numbered. This is the central section here again. This is the diamond and the fourth of the lead out tracks, section 4. That comes in, all goes through. You can see the boxes, some of the locomotives there lurking in the background. We'll cover more of the stock on this layout in later videos. And here we are down at the bottom, 2 more frog wires. Frog wires, you'll notice, do not have the crimps on them. This is basically the wire gauge is small enough I can't actually get the crimps to grip onto them. So these are just screwed in for the moment. I'm going to see if I can find some slightly smaller ones. Another couple of wire bundles. These are all done. Back onto here, wired up, you'll notice there's a couple of wires missing from those top 2 relays. I'd actually run out of crimp terminals. That'll be rectified shortly after the videos were made, when some more stuff arrived the following day. Really do need to get a camera that will focus a little bit better than this one, but there we go. So they're all wired in. That's connected up to the frogs, so I can power those up with the extra wires went in. The section below is, as you can see, a little bit wired in, and this is a little bit messy. A lot of brown wires. This is what the DTC8 looks like. Essentially every one of its, well, 7 of its 8 channels has a wire coming in from the terminal block and then going out to a feed. So there's plenty of those. Again, I've tried to keep those as neat as possible. In a vague hope later. Here we've got the individual feeds come in. So the turnouts come in with their brown feeds. These will go off to the relays at the top, and again there'll be blue feeds taken up there. Later, everything's wired in except for those short links, because the red spade terminals are the bits I ran out of. So yeah, and it went quite well. Took a few hours, and that's where that went. So standing back a little bit further, this is where it all sits. It's you can see the little clip on it again, wired in nicely, and that is about that for this episode. Following episode, we're going to look at wiring up the point servos and some running testing, and we'll follow that up with another look at the control boards and how that went. And the spoiler alert there is it didn't go well, but we'll see everybody in the next video. Thank you for your time. Yeah, just a quick note, if anybody likes this, or you can think I can do something better, or there's anything else you particularly want to see a little bit more of, feel free to leave a comment. I will be reading them. I doubt it'll take very long because this channel's not particularly visible at the moment. Update, like, or let me know what on earth you think is wrong and I'll try and do it better. But yeah, thank you all, catch you around, see you next time.